at what Zach Paulette liked to call, Zach Paulette was the executive director of ACORN and Project Vote simultaneously. In 2008, he said we had a once-in-a-generation opportunity. And it wasn't to elect a black president, it was to pass socialism, to fundamentally change the way we were doing things, and Barack Obama was just a conduit to do it. So so when I got a call 2 weeks later from the Obama campaign to the Washington D.C. office, I was actually very excited. You know, this Obama campaign is calling ACORN. So I get out there and I type a little email and I send it out to all my supervisors. And when I got back from that email, which I was told I probably shouldn't have sent, was a USB drive about this big. And on that USB drive was the second quarter Obama donor list from 2007. So I contacted Stephanie Strom of the New York Times as a confidential source, and I began to give her documents and records and emails and everything she would need to show that not only was ACORN committing massive voter registration fraud, but they also had done things that would constitute prosecution under the RICO statutes. But every time, if you go back and you look up Stephanie Strom's articles from summer of 2008, every single article was more watered down than the next. It almost seemed like they were trying to provide cover for ACORN. So I started not to trust her a little bit. From July of 2008 to October of 2008, none of those stories ever got printed the way they were. So on October 23rd, 2008, after working from July to October, I was at home with my daughter, who was 2 at the time. She got into my makeup. So I immediately picked her up and was dropping her in the tub and scrubbing her, and I heard my phone ring. Usually when Stephanie calls, I automatically pick up. But this time, because I was in the bathroom with my daughter, I let it go to voicemail. When I went back and I played that voicemail, it was Stephanie Strom telling me that her editors had told her to stand down from the story. She was coming to D.C. that day, 2 days from that day, to get information regarding the Obama donor list, collusion between the campaign, ACORN, and Project Vote, and she had independently verified meetings between the campaign and Project Vote outside of myself. So I called her back, and she told me that it was not the policy of the New York Times to print a game changer that close to the election for either side. Exactly. And if you remember, they printed a story about John McCain having an affair with an anonymous source. And there I was willing to come forward, be identified, and they had a list that they could prove could not have been downloaded from the internet because it included donors that Obama had never turned over to the FEC. So I went to CNN. They did a 3-tape interview that never aired. ABC News and Martha Raddatz had the story and was able to prove the validity of the list, and they would not touch it. Everyone provided cover for Obama before the election.